Hello, Bab. How you doing? I wanted to make this video for quite a while now because finding your purpose when you're in your 40s, 50s or 60s as a woman is something that hits us all. I challenge you if you haven't really thought about it before in the past, and you might be having feelings in your head that probably do indicate that you're thinking, why am I here? What's my purpose? What am I going to do for the next 35 years of my life? And for me, those are questions that I asked myself 4 years ago, that I've been asking myself again just this year, and that I think I've got answers to. So I'm going to talk through some of the things that you might be recognizing in your mind and in your body that will tell you you're considering your purpose and where you want to move to next and what you want to do next in your life. Also, I'm going to give you what I've learned about how to step forward and try and find your purpose in a sea of everything else that's going on in your head. And I'm going to throw in a little bit of my story as well, and how YouTube and me showing up on YouTube really fits into all of that. So this is my new channel. My name's Marverine. I'm a journalist in my 50s. I live in the UK. I sometimes work as a newsreader for a breakfast programme, and I'm also a beer sommelier. But through my life, beer sommelier, beer expert in craft beer. But through all of my life, I've made changes. I made changes in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and my 50s. And I've had a lot of upheaval in my life, even though things might look great. Look, I'm all dolled up, going to an awards ceremony, a dress is over there. I'm going to throw the dress on and go. Those are just some of those occasions in my life where great things happen, groovy things happen. Does not happen 24/7. There are lots of weeks where I'm sat at home in front of the laptop kind of figuring out life, right? 4 years ago I had a job change. I had to leave a job because I was overwhelmed and burned out. And when I left that job, then I had a real sense of a loss of identity. I was like, I was always an academic. Well, I was an academic for 4 years, and I felt like I was so deeply in that career, and I put on that cloak of being an academic, and I wanted it to be my retirement job. And then it ended, and I was like, so who am I now? Can I still be an academic? Can I go back into journalism? I mean, I did go back into journalism in the end, but that sense of loss was crazy, and that in itself was a catalyst. One of the many catalysts that made me leave probably whatever my fourth or fifth career change was, and step back into journalism, which is what I was trying to do 21 years ago. The overwhelm and the burnout, and also the grief of losing one of my older brothers, just hit me for six. And there were so many messages in that horrific time that told me, you got to do something different. You've got to do what you've always wanted to do and go back to your original profession that I came to in my 30s. And there was also a sign that the broadcaster that I'm working for now approached me and said, we want you to work for us. And my mind was blown, because I'd left the profession in my 40s thinking I would never work in television again. And the national broadcaster's asking me to join them in my 50s. And instead of going, actually I did go. I just said yes. I said yes. And I'm seeing how it goes, right? It's nice to be back. It's good to be back. So those feelings that you're going to be feeling, I bet you they are, you don't know what you're doing. You're kind of frustrated around, what are you doing in your life? Is anything that you've done worthy? Where do you go next? You might have had one of the midlife maelstroms might have hit you like a truck. So this phrase, midlife maelstrom, Eleanor Mills wrote about it. I saw it a few weeks ago. When you get to your 50s, a woman in her 50s will hit at least one of these midlife maelstroms, right? And she said something like play midlife maelstrom bingo and mark off every single one of these things that you've tackled. So get ready. Divorce, married, divorce, bereavement, some kind of career upheaval, job loss, laid off, career shift. You've had kids, and when you brought them up, you've gone through that whole nightmare scenario, possibly a nightmare, might not have been a nightmare for you, of teen independence. Then they grow up, they have their own lives, they leave home, they leave the nest. You're an empty nester. It's how you're dealing with that whole scenario of having children under your roof up until 18, and then they're gone. And sometimes they might come back, right? Because finances and the way that the economy is mean that a lot of young people are struggling to even afford their own homes. So they might be back with you. It might be like me. Like I said, I'm 53 and I have not had kids, and I'm just trying to reconcile what's my life for if I haven't had kids, because society says, and the Bible says, you know, you are meant to bring forth the next generation. And I was not one of those people. It just didn't happen for me. So you're thinking, well, what do I do? Am I doing what I should be doing in life? Am I making any difference in life? Now, there's some other midlife maelstroms. They are, come on. Oh yeah, big, like a big health challenge, a really mind-blowing health challenge. Menopause is in there. I mean, to me, menopause is part of that big mind-blowing health challenge. And I'm pretty sure there's one more. I've got some notes here, so I just want to refer to them. And I can't find the other one. Okay. Health of your elderly parents, which is another one that I and others that I know are going through that, where, you know, your mum or your dad are ill and you're doing what you can to care for them in the way that they cared for you. So when you're hit with any or all of these maelstroms collide, and they do make you reassess life. And there are lots of other reasons as well around that. So people joke about the existential crisis, right? Who am I? What am I? All that, you know. Some people would just go, oh, I don't think about that. That's fine. Don't think about it. But, you know, when I was just saying about the fact that I haven't had kids, and society is pretty much revolves around a family with children, and I haven't got children, and even though my husband says we're a family together, us and the cat, which is beautiful, you get to this age and you go through the menopause and you're like, I haven't had kids, so what was the point of me being here? Not to put a too strong a point on it, what was the point of me being here? What do I offer people? And I've been thinking about that, because as a journalist, what I do is I tell stories. I report on stories, and 9 times out of 10, when I'm reading the news, I'm telling you bad stuff. And it makes you feel sad. And there might be a little bit of and finally at the end. So even me, I'm thinking about, was journalism the right thing to do? Was journalism the right profession to be in? Because basically you spent 21 years of your life depressing people. Of course, just comparing yourself to others, you get to this age, and I mean, comparison happens across every age decade anyway. You're always comparing. Your friends got this job, the friends got this boyfriend, your friends got these clothes, your neighbours have got this house, they're having an extension done, they're having a new driveway, they're going on this holiday to the Caribbean, the Maui, they're going to the Maldives, whatever, and you can't afford it, and you just feel like you're lacking. Social comparison is another one that kind of prompts you to wonder what on earth your life is about. Regret and unfulfilled potential is a big one. Oof. Just saying the words. Actually, saying the words really brings up a lot for me. And it's all tied to the kids thing. And also the fact that, you know, I lost my brother, and he almost, he was gonna, like, change his life. He didn't quite get the chance to change his life, right? But he'd made changes in his life years before, and I admired him so much for that. He studied to be an engineer and he didn't like it. He went into a job and he didn't like it, and he went back to university and he studied to be an accountant. I admire his bravery so much, and maybe I got some of that from him in my desire to just change things when I didn't want to be in a particular job. I didn't want to be around certain people, toxic workplaces, people who didn't value me. I was off ski. And I've done a video about all the job changes and stuff in my life and why. And what was the other one? I'm going to look at my notes as well. The need for authenticity. Yeah, there's something about something suddenly hits you in your 40s, 50s, 60s where you go, have I been living my life for my parents? Have I been doing the job that my parents wanted me to do? Did I study what they wanted me to do? Am I living where like everybody else expected me to do certain things and I followed that path and I wasn't really living my true life? And now I want to live an authentic life. That word is used so much, right? But I want to live an authentic life, a life that's true to me. If you are feeling any of those things and lots of stuff comes up for you, then you are, I think that is an indication that you are considering what your purpose is, your why, where you go from here, what you do with that next 35 years of your life, because 80.7 apparently is the number, the average age that we as women in particular are going to live to. So my mum's 88, so I got 35 years. If I live to 88, I got 35 years, right? So you've got you might have 35 years, you might have 25 years, you might have 15 years, but you feel like I'm going nowhere, but I want to make a change. And even if you don't know what kind of change you want to make, at least you're feeling those feelings and you notice those feelings, then you think, okay, so what am I going to do next? What's my plan? If any of this is resonating with you and if this stuff comes up for you, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear something in the comments. And also, I'm just starting out on YouTube. I have struggled with my first videos and I'm not ashamed to say that I've had very few views on my videos, and I know YouTube is a work in progress and I am doing the work, and I'm reassessing everything from the way forward. I'm not going to give up, but I am going to be less kind of, I mean, that doesn't even make any sense. If you look back at my other videos, there's you know, I've got 21 subscribers and I have had comments from women saying, I love your advice. I love what's in there. You've prompted me to action. Maybe just the way I was saying things was just a bit off. I don't know. I'm hoping that the more I do this, the more value I can give, and the more what I say might resonate with you, and you might be thinking, yeah, okay. Anyway, I just need to I'm trying to do this with no edits, yeah, because I just want to do easy mode because the editing is hard, you know. Okay, so you know what else I had for this video? Because I've got like a little book with loads of questions in. It's like a little workbook, and I've got some other workbooks as well. There's a workbook that I've got which is about finding your purpose, that I think if you know you're struggling with all those questions about who am I, what am I doing, where do I go next, what direction do I take my life in to make a difference, not just exist but have a meaningful life where you're doing something that you're passionate about. So I've got a little workbook, so you can jump in and get that if you want. No obligation, but it's really useful. It's a really useful manual. One of the things around changing from leaving academia and deciding to leave academia because I was burnt out and overwhelmed by the workload, and also I was consumed by grief after losing my brother. I realised that there was an offer of coming to work for another news organisation, and I was working how many hours a week? Maybe was I working 20 hours a week? I don't know. And so I was going in. I'd accepted like, yes, this job in news, and it was like less than part-time, less than 20 hours a week. It was not regular hours a week. But the one thing I knew that I did want was I did not want to be building somebody else's goals, solely my life focused on someone else, some other organization building their goals alone without me being developed, because there was a reticence where I was working to support me and my personal goals in that role. And it made me realize, hey, wait a minute. If an organization that you're working for is not going to support you and your personal goals, then really you've got to save yourself. And I thought, but I want to do stuff. I don't know what it is. Hadn't figured that out yet, but I've come to the realization now that if you want to be supported in your own goals, you've got to support yourself. That's what I've realized this year. Hey. And I wanted to own a project, create a project, own a project. I've never done that before. The challenges, I think, when you realize that a catalyst has happened and there's something shifting, you can't ignore the signs, because if you ignore the signs, you distract yourself, you say you're going to do something and you don't, you procrastinate, you ignore, you mask, you might comfort eat, you might comfort drink. One of the biggest signs, one of the biggest lessons I learned, one of the biggest turnarounds for me was I spent so many years, I was trapped for so many years in not knowing what my purpose was, that I looked at everyone else and I was envious of everyone. I wouldn't quite say I hated on everyone. I wasn't a keyboard warrior, but I internalized a lot of envy of other people and my peers on social media. And I finally realized that to get out of that cycle, I had to basically slap myself around the face and go, and this is, you've probably done this yourself, right? Slap myself around the face and gone, why are you hating on somebody else? You need to look at yourself and sort out what's going on. Fix what's going on. Do something. Instead of looking at somebody else going, oh, they're doing this, that, and the other, and getting all jealous. Try and build yourself up. Oi. Yeah, it's taken time. It's taken time to get there. I suppose the impact of that change now, and the impact of the realization and reflecting, forcing myself to reflect because there was nowhere else to go. How you can't keep hating. You can't keep hating on people and move forward. It's just not, your soul is not being fed. But one of the biggest things this year that helped me find my purpose was learning from a young journalist who approached me and said to me, you're quite interesting. Everything you've been through, and I've read little bits about what you've been through in life and the changes you've had in your life. This is valuable for people. You can help people. And I'd never ever thought that before. I disregarded myself. So, right, I was in that mode of, and I know you've been there too, like you're looking at everybody else. You're looking at everybody else and their faults, and you're not looking at yourself and your fault. It's the hardest thing ever to do, is to reflect on self, to look into self and go, yeah, you're nasty. You're a nasty little bitch, aren't you? You need to fix that up. And the sooner you kind of get to that point, a shift comes. A shift is coming for you. So the fact that this amazing young journalist called Abby said to me, you know, your thoughts and what you've seen in life and what you've done in life as a journalist, as someone who's taught young journalists, as someone who's changed careers several times. I'm someone who's been on welfare and scraped money together to buy food, to pay bills. I've had the emergency electric, I've had to go into the emergency electric meter, which gives you like £5 worth of credit to put some electric on, to then scrabble money together to top up my car to put actual electric on in my flat. This is where I've been. I've lived in tiny little, it's just been there. Been there, out of work, experienced prejudice, racial prejudice, the lot, okay? Had no money, been debt up to my eyeballs. I won't go on. Abby said, you know, the things you've been through, they may help people just because what you've been through and what you've learned, they may help people. So I'm like, okay. So I've come to the realization that this is my purpose, that actually, after much persuasion by Abby, actually, that's why I've set up this channel. That's why I'm finishing up training to be a transformative coach, because I know I can help women. I've been mentoring women. I've been teaching young women to become journalists. I've taught aspiring broadcasters, presenters, wannabe content creators, you name it, just trying to be who they want to be in a space on a screen. And I've got to this age now in my 50s and I'm like, I know I can help. And I think this is my purpose. Anything coming up for you, please let me know. I'd love you to smash like and subscribe and just hang out here with me. I'd love you to be here with me for more videos, and tell me if there's anything else you want to hear. Find your hidden skills that you had when you were a kid, that you engaged in when you were a kid, at your Saturday job or your weekend job or jobs through your 20s and your 30s, and you picked up skills, but you maybe disregarded them and went, I don't really need them because I'm going in this direction. Reconnect with those. Is there something there? Is there a passion that you had that you threw away, that you turned your back on because your mom, your dad, your relatives, your siblings said, you can't do that, but you genuinely loved it? Bring it back. Do something with it. Do something with it if you want to. And then figure out how you want to do it, because it could be bringing back a passion. It could be a hobby that you do at weekends that you think, I want to turn that into a business now, because that's possible. The internet is such a mine of information. YouTube is an encyclopedia of information. And there are so many side hustles, so many ways of making extra money online and offline these days. I promise you I've got a video coming on that. You can pick stuff up and do. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's doable. Just got to put effort in, and it is effort. But nothing spectacular comes easy. Nothing spectacular comes like that, no? And it might be that you want to volunteer, you want to help in the local community, you want to build something around maybe your existing job that makes you feel good, that makes you feel like you're contributing to the world, to your local area, make you feel like you're going to leave a legacy. I tell you what, you have to, because if you're feeling like restless, uncomfortable about your life and where it's going and what you're doing, this is maybe it. You need to find your purpose. You need to find your why. And when you find your why, best thing in the world, I've found it and I am thrilled to bits. Thank you so much for watching. Please come back, lots more videos on my channel. Mwah.